Hey, North City community leaders, Pastor JD here. Just wanted to film a video with the information I'm passing along in a email you probably received. So just wanted to talk that through. Sometimes it's easier to listen to someone than it is to stare at an email for a long time. I know a lot of you are staring at emails. So thank you so much for your leadership of these North City communities. They're going great. If you guys have any feedback for me, want to connect with me on some things, I'm here and available to you for that. So a couple things coming up. You'll see in that email, you got the Dwelling in the Word for this week. Adobe's going to bring a little thought that will be available on our YouTube page on Thursday. If you're going to send an email out and you want to do that or add that in there to enhance your conversation or kind of be a centerpiece of it, it's up to you. The full service will be available for those who tune in at least by Sunday morning. I put in this email some things that we want to ask you about, some things that you can do in preparation for the fall as we're thinking forward. So I just want to rattle through those a little bit, maybe create a little more context and understanding for you on this video beyond the email. So the first thing is, what are we going to do when the weather turns? Fall is in the air. You can feel it. We've got a couple more nice days, I think, of meeting outside in outdoor spaces. And I'd encourage you to do that for those of you meeting in person, as long as you are comfortable doing it, as long as you're able to do it, keep doing it. But eventually, winter is coming. Deep fall is coming, so we need to make plans. And you got a couple options there in the email I told you about. If your group's smaller than 10 people, you can go inside if everybody feels comfortable with that. The recommendation is to wear masks as you do so. Another really creative, cool option for indoor gathering is find something close to where you gather that's a public space that might allow a smaller group in that's socially distanced. So I don't have a huge list of those spaces. You maybe have to do a little digging. I would love to help you do that digging if that's an option that you want to explore, but I just thought, hey, why don't we try? It's cool to meet in public spaces and be available to our neighbors. We learned that from being in the park this summer. Some people joined our church just because we were there in their space. So the same could be true of your North City community. The third option that I want you to consider is if you need some more space to socially distance, or you're over 10 people in your group, or you're trying to figure out ways to navigate that, is that we want to make Brookdale available if the North City communities need it on the off weeks that we're not worshiping there. They have a huge fellowship hall in the basement that a couple communities could socially distance in. In addition to that, they have some rooms downstairs, upstairs that are big enough to do that. So if that's an option that interests you, there might be some cool collaboration between the North City communities that are gathering there to, like, for instance, do engage the kids together and do some more focused stuff for them across the community. So if that interests your North City community, please let me know right away. And the North City communities that are considering doing that can start to collaborate on those things. And last option would be, if you got other ideas about how to meet together in these strange times, please let us know. There's always an option to go digital, and that's another thing that I wanted to mention, that I feel like just the times we're in and the uncertainty of it, that you should have some sort of digital contingency plan. You as leaders should just talk through, hey, if this takes a step towards being worse, this pandemic, and the governor kind of shuts things down again, how are we going to go digital? I think we should just have that in our back pocket, and maybe for the fall, that's the next best move for you guys in general, other than trying to find an indoor space. And that's totally fine. We've already got a digital community going. They can show you everything you need to know about how to create community online like they're doing. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yes. Okay. So that's, we need to figure out as a group, hey, what are we going to do? What's our plan in the fall? And maybe that's a conversation that you can start with your North City community even this Sunday, and just say, I would recommend having the conversation as leaders beforehand and coming up kind of with a direction and say, hey, what do you think about this? Get some feedback from them. Let's see, what was the other, oh man, drawing a blank. Fall schedule. So once you have those conversations, the best thing to do for clarity for these next few months for people, because it is a time of uncertainty. To have some clarity about the calendar would be fantastic. So in the email, I outlined, hey, here are the weeks that are North City Community Weeks, because we're on an every other week rhythm. Just sit down as leaders and have a conversation like, hey, what are we going to do? You don't need to figure it out in detail, but there's some crucial things that you should figure out even for the next 2 months here. And those are the where is this going to happen? You've already decided on the when. You should be in a rhythm for that. What is it particularly we're going to do? So are we going to continue to just do dwelling in the words every week? Are we going to have some sort of mission aspect of it? Are we going to try to experiment with reaching out to our neighbors in a particular way, or reading something together that's a little more mission focused? Many of you have gone in different directions with that. Decide what you're going to do. I did in that calendar put some dates that there are going to be some church-wide things happening, particularly October 18th, I believe it is. We have the special privilege of Dr. Dennis Edwards preaching to both the Mill City and the North City community. And because it's a North City Community Week, I would love for every North City community to figure out a way to watch his sermon together in the community and discuss like you would a dwelling in the word. I think he's just such a powerful teacher, so insightful. I deeply respect him as a thought leader. So I highly encourage you to carve out space to listen to that sermon. Maybe it's not that Sunday. That would be the best time to do it, but at some point to do that together. The other one is we got another table church coming up the end of November, and we don't have a lot of details on that yet. We will see where things are at the beginning of November, but I just kind of wanted for you to put a pin in your calendar. That's actually a third Sunday in that month that falls in the North City community rhythm. So it could be that we have a time where we try to get all the North City communities together and have some sort of table church expression if it's safe at that point. If not, we'll give a little bit more direction on how to be a little more intentional, maybe with stories in your North City community space. So still decide the where and the when. The last element of all of these that would be good to decide, just for clarity for you as leaders, look out at your family calendars, look out at if you've got trips planned or something like that, and just make sure that those roles I talked about last week, where you've got a communicator, you've got a host, and you've got a facilitator, those could be covered. All three of those could be covered by one person, or your team that's facilitating these could break up each Sunday. Maybe that's consistent. You say, hey, I'm going to be the host for every time we meet in the fall, or I'm going to be the communicator every time we meet in the fall. Just decide that. So that would be great. One thing in that whole vein of things, we kind of have a question for you. We have an idea for you to consider in the communication piece. We are wondering if it would be helpful to have some alignment in communication. And simply what I mean by that is that we're envisioning either a web page and or email on North City Weeks that goes out to every single person at North City with the details they need to know about all the North City communities that particular week. This is how that would work. We would get you a Google Drive spreadsheet that has kind of a schedule and has a couple key questions for you that are basically what I said to you just then to figure out. So where are you going to be, when you're going to be there, what are you going to be doing, and is there any information those people need to know in addition to that? And you could go ahead, if you already had these conversations about planning in the fall, go in and fill out those things, of course with the contingency that maybe if things get worse, it will go digital. You can go ahead and fill those things in all for the fall, and then what that empowers us to do is to take some of the communication aspects off of your plate, at least the broad communication aspects, in which we could send a email on those North City Communities Sundays that week prior. This is the email for North City, and people could scroll down it, find their North City community, find the details they need. The beauty of that is that people who are not yet connected to North City communities have kind of the offering of North City communities right in their inbox every time, so that they can choose to come and join you, and they know where the information is and they can find it. So just an idea we have. We want your feedback on that. That maybe would empower you with the time that you're already spending communicating with your North City community to do so in more directed and personal ways instead of spending time constructing the email. We could do that for you. If we already had the information prior, you could spend that time connecting with the people in your North City community through text and all that stuff. So It's a lot of information, I know. Thanks for hanging with me in this video. I'm here, I'm available to you. Let's connect and chat. Any barriers you're facing, anything that's not clear to you, or if you just need a little pep talk, or hey, if you're having a tough time getting the kids back into school or something like that, I want to hear about that. I want to hear about how your lives are going. I'm here for you.